All right. Hello there. So I was recently having a conversation with somebody who's going through a healing path from some long COVID symptoms. And the topic came up of conversation around the idea of resilience. And what I wanted to talk about today is what should one be focusing on in their healing path? Because you see a lot about safety in the chronic illness, chronic pain, nervous system healing space. There's a lot, you see it on both sides, right? It depends on, I guess, like what content you're watching, what approach you're listening to. But some of it is about creating safety in your nervous system, right? So removing like overwhelming stresses. And some of it is about building resilience and the ability to kind of expose yourself to the things that you're afraid to be exposed to and retrain your nervous system to be able to kind of deal with that without going into these big spirals and crashes. So I want to discuss that here today. Should you be focusing on safety, or should you be focusing on resilience in your healing journey? If you're healing from chronic illness, long COVID, fibromyalgia, whatever, anything, even if you're like having an awakening or you're on a personal transformation experience and you're struggling with physical symptoms, right? Physical pain. So yeah, open to everyone. And for me, what it comes down to is, where is somebody fixating? So are you fixating on safety, or are you fixating on resilience? So let's explore both sides of this. Let's say you're fixating on safety, right? So you're trying to create this perfect world for yourself where you never get exposed to things that you're afraid of or things that cause you symptoms. And that can be a fine foundation, because you start by cutting out all of like the energy draining habits and giving yourself a healthier lifestyle, right? Making some shifts that you need to make, right? So there's nothing wrong with focusing on safety and focusing on, creating a healthy diet, using some supplements, getting a good sleep schedule, cutting out social interactions that are draining, cutting out jobs and habits. Like specifically for me, it was always around habits that were draining, like spending too much time on my smartphone and spending too much time reading the news and these kind of things, right? So it's cutting those things out. That's a good foundation. But then are you stuck in this little bubble where you're too afraid to expose yourself to anything that's going to threaten that safety? In this case is where I would say resilience is going to be what I would recommend you to focus on, right? Something that's going to be very important in your healing journey is to really, and this for me was the key. It wasn't about trying to get rid of the symptoms entirely. It was trying to build my inner resilience to be like, no matter what I'm experiencing, can I sit with that and feel into that and allow it, right? You've probably heard me speak a lot about allowance in my videos, and it's because it's such a powerful tool. You don't need to do anything complicated. So along that side of resilience is you want to open yourself up gently to the things that you're afraid of, and then use kind of tools like meditation and allowance, compassion work, brain retraining. Brain retraining with the foundation of allowance is how I would show it, because brain retraining can turn into something too complicated. And I know a lot of people have gotten stuck in resisting difficult emotions through brain retraining. So yeah, I would say with that's with, you want to really focus on building resilience. You want to, for me, it came to getting to the space where I was like, whatever I expose myself to, I'm okay with feeling into that, right? And if something came up that I wasn't okay with, then I would sit and explore that. So it's about exposure, but at the same time, giving yourself space to do the allowing work, right? So it's always balance. So that's that end of the spectrum. On the other side, you can also get the case where somebody's really pushing 24/7, and that's fine. Again, any approach that you're taking is actually fine, because either way, it's exposing you to your blind spots, right? It's exposing you. It's going to bring up what you need to work through. So this is key. There's not some perfect approach. There's not some way that everybody needs to heal. So that's key. It's fine if you're going like a very hardcore approach, or if you're going a very slow, expansive approach. Everybody's going to have a different path with this. But that's why I say, what is somebody fixating on? So let's say somebody's fixating on resilience. So it's like, okay, I'm going to expose myself to everything. I don't want to be afraid of anything. What could happen is you could overwhelm your nervous system. And then that's where I would say focusing a little bit more on safety might actually be more important, because you already were fixated in resilience. You already had that part covered, and what you were missing was allowing yourself to put more time and space into having a space of safety in your nervous system, having a space of rejuvenation, having a space of not having to overexpose yourself to things, right? So for example, let's say you're pushing yourself really hard in exercise, you're pushing yourself in other spheres of life as well, and it's triggering you a lot. Listen to your body, and then use tools that are helpful for you. I've spoken about this many times before. For me, it's like spending more time in nature, spending time meditating, doing things slowly, even just allowing yourself to guilt-free have slower days, right? This is key, because people get stuck in like old conditioning that you should be productive all the time. You should be kind of making progress all the time. And that's fine. Those drives can be helpful in getting us to do the things we want to do and make the progress we want to make. But it's pretty unbalanced a lot of the time, where to really allow yourself to have a slow day, where maybe you kind of just, I don't know, obviously depends on your environment, but you just sit in the sun, you read a book, you kind of make yourself a slow cup of tea, you go for a walk, you pet an animal, right? And then just notice that the mind saying, okay, but what should I be doing? How should I be making progress? And be like, that's not what today is about, right? That's not what you're doing here. You're not forcing yourself to be resilient all the time. And then, a day or two later, you have the energy again that you want to start pushing your boundaries, or just kind of incorporating something again. So yeah, I mean, either approach, it always comes back to balance and finding where you are kind of too much in one or the other. But overall, I would say resilience is what I would focus on, because safety in itself is not going to, like, it can be a step in the journey, but it's not going to allow you to expand your boundaries if you don't include resilience as well. So I would definitely say resilience is more important, but then it can become a blind spot. Like, this is what happened with me, where I healed and like I was like, I don't care about anything like from a fear place anymore, and push until my body started telling me again, like, hey, you need to start incorporating. And I got sick again, like some virus that affected me pretty badly. So then it was shift a little bit to the other side, where it's like, okay, cool, you have the resilience, and now you shift a little bit more into the safety, the slowing down, and then shifting back into the resilience. So there's always going to be like waves and cycles, and it doesn't mean that you're going backwards, or there's just going to be different periods in your life where you're going to have to dynamically respond to what you're dealing with. But it's not complicated when I'm saying that. It's the key just comes down to learning to trust your body, right? If I'm feeling too like restless, on edge, I need to actually get out more and do more, and allow myself to just kind of spontaneously do things. And then if that's happening too much, then I just slow down a bit. And yeah, so that is the video for today. Hopefully you can kind of use that to find your own approach. And yeah, it is always about finding your own approach, however kind of things are unfolding for you, just look for your blind spots, you know, like look for your fears. What am I afraid of addressing? What am I afraid of doing and I actually want to do? Let that guide you and listen to your body. That's always going to be a great indicator, because yeah, your body will tell you if you're too much in one or the other. Alrighty, good luck.